Chapter 717. Did she give birth to a monster? Afterwards, Tingning was sent to a normal hospital room. Monsieur, at this time, Shai Yuling walked in happily with the two babies and presented them to Tingning. You have two sons. Tingning looked at the two babies and froze in surprise. Seeing this, Shai Yuling laughed. Didn't you know how many babies you gave birth to? Tingning shook her head and looked at Mo Ting. Mo Ting had not seen the babies yet either. This was their first meeting. Do you want to carry them? Shai Yuling asked Mo Ting. Mo Ting remained still. He had not adjusted to his new identity as a father yet. Only at this moment did he realize how much responsibility he had as the father of two children. From now on, these two children would be relying on him and Tingning to survive. Although he had prepared himself for this moment, truly seeing the babies for the first time still made him panic. Shai Yuling noticed the nervousness on Mo Ting's face, so she gestured for him to raise his arms and copy what she was doing. She then placed the two babies slowly into his arms. The babies looked tiny, especially in Mo Ting's arms. However, they were sleeping comfortably and peacefully with a complete sense of security. Hey, look at the father holding the babies. They don't cry in his arms. The nurses laughed as they witnessed the scene. The babies and their father will definitely have a good relationship. Tingning looked at Mo Ting's careful expression and sat up to touch the baby's cheeks as a satisfied smile appeared on her face. Later that night, the hospital was quiet and extremely peaceful. Tingning awoke from her sleep to find Mo Ting still sitting by her bedside. Her heart ached looking at him. The babies have been born and I am fine. You haven't slept for a few days now. Don't make me worry about you. Mo Ting lifted his head to look at Tingning. After a quick glance, he nodded his head. Okay. He then walked around to the other side of Tingning's bed and lay down beside her. Tingning quickly stopped him. Don't sleep there. I've just finished giving birth and my body is dirty. Mo Ting stretched out his arms and hugged Tingning, placing her head against his chest. You gave birth to two precious babies for me. I've never been disgusted by you. So why should you be disgusted by yourself? I'm smelly. I don't mind, Mo Ting said gently as he continued to hug her tightly. Thank you, wifey. Hearing this, Tingning's eyes began to turn red. As long as this man was aware of her suffering and could understand her pains, then everything she experienced was worth it. You don't need to thank me. At this moment, Mo Ting suddenly started a new conversation and placed his chin on top of Tingning's head. Nothing in this world should be taken for granted. With you and our babies, I am very grateful and satisfied. Tingning's tears seeped out from the corners of her eyes. But hearing Mo Ting's words, she suddenly laughed. You're welcome, Mr. Mo. This is proof of my love for you. No matter when and how long time had passed, the love shared by the couple on the bed remained as deep and passionate as ever. Mo Ting often wondered, how many people in this world felt grateful towards their lover? Especially over the last few days. He couldn't understand why there were so many people in this world who could bear to get angry towards their lover or treat them badly. Because for him, simply thinking about Tingning not being by his side made him suffer. Thus, even if Tingning was to do something extremely overboard in the future, as long as she stayed by his side, it was enough for Hi Monsieur. Where are the babies? They're asleep, Mo Ting replied. Then, have you given them names yet? Tingning asked. The older brother can be called Mo Zigan and the younger brother Mo Zixi. As for their pet names, you can come up with that. Hearing this, Tingning fell silent. Mo Ting waited patiently. Just as he thought she had fallen asleep, she suddenly said, why don't we call them Tang Tang and Guo Guo One? They will hate you when they grow up. Mo Ting laughed. Tingning also laughed. The elders all say that a pet name should be as corny as possible. That way the child would be easy to take care of. They should be happy that I didn't name them Wang Sai or Afu too. The couple had originally said that they'd get some rest, but they were suddenly distracted by endless heartfelt conversations. After all, Mo Ting's precious woman had given birth to two precious little babies. For the rest of his life, he would never forget this day. So, they had given birth to two boys in the end? Perfect. From now on, the household would have two other men to help them protect Tengning. The next day, Duan Jinghong received news that Tengning had safely given birth. In fact, she had given birth to twins. If it wasn't because they had a performance that night, she would be popping a bottle of champagne with her group members to celebrate. While Wenfeng previously spread horrible rumors about Mai Ning, something about the child being a daughter with a deformity. But, look at the results. Mai Ning gave birth to two healthy babies. Whoa. When their sons grow up, plenty of girls are going to be charmed by them. Quote, but, first, I wonder how long their legs will be. Duan Jinghong watched as her group members discussed the news excitedly. They were practically happier than if they were to give birth themselves. But, her lips also curved upwards. Regardless of everything else, hearing this news also made her happy. The only problem was, Song Shin was still inquiring about Tengning and still had the intention of hurting her. Since she still hadn't learned her lesson, tonight, they would present her with a big gift. The group leader seemed to have understood Duan Jinghong's concerns, so she patted her on the shoulder. Give it your all tonight. You are our secret weapon. Duan Jinghong nodded her head. Don't worry, I know what to do. Hurry, let's send her 2 tickets to the live show. It would be more spectacular that way. Duan Jinghong knew that she didn't need to worry about this. She trusted that Hai Rui had already made necessary arrangements. But, to be exact, according to Song Shin's personality, even if no one dug a hole for her to fall in, she would jump into one herself. So, as expected, Duan Jinghong soon received a phone call from Song Shin. Jinghong, are you busy tonight? What is it? I want to go watch Hai Rui's new girl group perform, monsieur. I want to see what they're made of and why Hai Rui would put so much effort into training them, monsieur. I need to have dinner with my parents tonight. Ask President Xiao to accompany you instead, Duan Jinghong replied naturally. In actual fact, her heart was pounding in nervousness. Fine, I'll give Xiao Yuhei a call then, Song Shin said before she hung up. Duan Jinghong put down her phone and let out a cold laugh. It was time for Song Shin to receive her gift. Song Shin was unaware of everything that was happening around her. When she gave Xiao Yuhei a phone call, she was simply filled with disdain. Xiao Yuhei understood her arrogance. So he replied, "What's Jinghong doing? Why isn't she going with you? She needs to keep her parents company," Song Shin replied. "Okay, I'll accompany you tonight then." "Wait, have you received any news on Tengning yet?" "Nothing," Xiao Yuhei replied. "Did she give birth to a monster? Is that why she's not showing anyone?" Song Shin sneered. Chapter 718. How dare she betray me like this? Don't be so harsh with your words, Xiao Yuhei reminded her helplessly. Is this the first day you met me? It's not like you never knew I was like this, Song Shin replied casually. She was right, Xiao Yuhei acknowledged in his mind. He knew she was like this from the start, yet he couldn't help but treat her with no regrets. Actually, one of the reasons why Song Shin did not insist for Duan Jinghong to accompany her was because it had been a long time since Duan Jinghong had spent time with her parents. But another reason was, whenever she thought about Duan Jinghong's impressive new image after returning home, she would feel extremely uncomfortable. She couldn't tolerate the fact that her follower had suddenly become more attractive and eye-catching than her. So, even though their relationship appeared normal on the surface, the two women knew deep down whether things had actually changed. 6 p.m. Monsieur Xiao Yuhei picked Song Shin up to take her to the event. However, en route, Song Shin couldn't help but ask, "Have you noticed that Duan Jinghong has gotten prettier lately?" "Just a little bit," Xiao Yuhei replied. "She's a bit more stylish than before. I don't like it. I don't like that my manager is covered in thick makeup. I prefer her clean look." Song Shin expressed her displeasure. Her vanity was getting the best of her. "It must be tiring to be your friend. They're not even allowed to stand out more than you." Xiao Yuhei smiled helplessly. "What? I have the right to choose my friends." Xiao Yuhei did not respond as he placed his focus on driving. Duan Jinghong's girl group was called AOB. It consisted of 4 members, each with their own strengths. All 4 girls were highly talented. As they had just debuted, they did not have the right to hold their own concert yet. So, the event tonight was held by the seniors of Hairui to show their support for promising newcomers. An AOB had been invited to perform Monsieur. In the backstage of the concert, Duan Jinghong and her group members were getting their makeup done. At this time, the group leader asked Duan Jinghong, "Has the beach arrived yet?" Duan Jinghong turned to look at her group leader and nodded her head. "Yes, she's here." "Good. Let's show her what we've got." The concert was packed with 10,000 people and there were plenty of fans in the audience, so a view of the stage was limited and the atmosphere was very noisy. However, Song Shin had her hands on VIP tickets, so she was seated right at the front with just a small runway separating her from the performers on stage. It couldn't get any better. 7 p.m. Monsieur, the concert officially started. Song Shin couldn't help but sigh. The artists on stage were indeed trained by Hairui. Their singing, dancing, and stage presence was almost perfect. No wonder Hairui's singers were so popular. As one wave of cheering followed another, Song Shin's ears began to feel numb. But the performance she was waiting for did not arrive. However, Duan Jinghong had already observed Song Shin clearly from the backstage. She couldn't wait to see how Song Shin was going to react. On stage, the host finally prepared the audience for AOB's performance. Although the fans had never heard of them before, knowing that their idol had invited them as guest performers filled them with anticipation. So, they erupted in a loud applause. "Get ready. It's time to go on stage," the group leader reminded Duan Jinghong. "Don't be afraid. In a moment, you simply need to display the charm that you've always had. You've never been less comparable to anyone." After receiving words of support, Duan Jinghong nodded her head and smiled calmly at the group leader. Soon, the lights on stage began to change, throwing the entire venue into complete darkness. It was officially time for Duan Jinghong and her group members to appear on stage. A few seconds later, the lights on stage lit up to reveal the girls, ready in their positions. As the music started, they began to move their delicate bodies to the rhythm in response. The audience once again erupted in a loud applause as they sang and danced. The girls' movements were cool and natural. The difficulty of their choreography was highly impressive. At first, Song Shin did not notice Duan Jinghong amongst the girls because of her clothes and makeup. But, as the cameras focused on her, and her face appeared on the big screen, Song Shin's expression changed. She immediately questioned Xiao Yuhei. "Is that Jinghong? Am I seeing things?" As the girls kept changing positions, Xiao Yuhei couldn't see clearly either. "It's just a slight resemblance. Why would Jinghong appear here?" Song Shin's instincts told her that she did not make a mistake. So she continued to stare at the young woman. The more she looked at her, the more she looked like Duan Jinghong and the more familiar she felt. In the end, the music and dancing ended and the girls completed their dance impressively. At this time, all the lights turned on and the host approached the monsieur with a smile. He said, "Come, introduce yourselves. Give your greetings to the fans." Song Shin looked anxiously at the girl that resembled Duan Jinghong and watched as she received the microphone. "Hello everyone. My name is Jing Hong. Jing Hong. It was Duan Jing Hong. Song Shin quickly stood up. At that moment, she really wished she was hearing things. Impossible. How was this possible? How could Jing Hong appear here? How did she become a member of AOB after realizing that she had been tricked? Song Shin felt her mind go blank. Duan Jing Hong actually lied to her. How dare she lie to her? Xiao Yuhei subconsciously turned to look at Song Shin and noticed the complex expression on her face. Song Shin could finally experience how it felt to be betrayed by her best friend. All four of you are still very young. It has been rumored that AOB is the most anticipated girl group this year. After seeing your performance just now, I must say you are all young, beautiful, and full of energy. President Mo sure has a good eye for people, the host praised. By the way, I heard that Jing Hong was previously injured and had just joined the group. But, judging by your performance, it was perfect and you are very talented. Thank you. Duan Jing Hong bowed thankfully at the host afterwards. She stood up straight and looked at Song Shin below the stage. It was a provocative gaze. In fact, it carried a sense of mockery. It seemed she was ridiculing Song Shin for her stupidity and overconfidence. Of course, if they weren't at an event with 10,000 people, Song Shin would have already run on stage and torn Duan Jing Hong in half. How could she have done this? She was just a mere manager. What right did she have to become an artist? Moreover, she even wanted to be more famous than her. At that moment, Song Shin's mind was filled with anger. Xiao Yuhei seemed to have noticed. So he suggested, why don't you go backstage and ask her about it? Even if you didn't suggest it, I would have went, Song Shin said as she gritted her teeth. I would like to ask her how she had the confidence to do this. And how she could be so shameless. I've been so good to her. How dare she betray me like this? She must be overestimating herself. Hit the like, thumbs up button and subscribe to my channel. Thank you for listening. Hit the like, thumbs up button and subscribe to my channel. Thank you for listening.